His thing is, I'm just going to talk to him. His thing is, this is not. So why do I have to spend other taxpayers' dollars for my attorney to tell you the same thing just because you want to? I've never heard that. It's not saying that it's true. I've never heard it. I think it's stupid. But I'm not going to take, I got to almost right. It's I don't have manpower. So. Correct. That's why he is. They're still in Fairmont. I don't know how the legal part of this, but just want to.
All right, is everybody ready?
I don't have that kind of
I think we're about ready. Whenever you're ready.
we're ready. Sorry.
Doc, are you ready? It's the signal, we're ready. All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Lockport Township monthly meeting. I'd like to start today with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I'd like to start our meeting with Road and Bridge monthly meeting. Can I start out with a roll call, please?
Supervisor Ron Alberico.
I'm here.
Trustee Barb Boyce. Here. Trustee Dean Morelli.
Here.
Trustee Barb Delaney. Here. Trustee Greg Bickus.
Here.
Highway Commissioner John Shalinski.
Here.
Assessor Debbie Mason. Here. Collector Karen Johnson. Here. And our attorney Gary Mueller.
All right. Thank you, everybody, again, for being here on a wonderful evening. We've got minutes in your packet for the monthly meeting of July 10th, 2018, for the Road and Bridge. I do need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce.
Second.
A second by Barb Delaney. Are there any questions in the minutes tonight for the Road and Bridge? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. You have the bills at $77,452.07.
I'll make that motion.
Any motion? Thank you, Barb. Delaney makes a motion.
I'll second it.
And a second by Barb Boyce. Any questions of tonight's bills? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
Bickus.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is citizens wishing to address the board. Is there anybody wishing to address the board for the Highway Department here tonight? All right, please come on up to the microphone. I would ask you to come up, state your name for the record, for the minutes. And,
So my name is Kirk Horvath, and I'm here to talk to Mr. Selinsky or the board as a whole.
Excuse me, sir. Can you speak into the mic?
yeah, I'm sorry, that mic is kind of short, but you lift it up maybe.
Is this okay?
That's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
So over the course of several months, I've been working with Mr. Selinsky and various other people to determine ownership, and I use that term loosely, of right-of-way areas in the Fairmont area of unincorporated Lockport. And within that area, I own parcels which have been overgrown or illegal dumping. I've been cleaning them myself, and over the course of a year, it comes right back. And John and I have talked about So what I've been trying to find out is, in researching the plats and surveys and all associated documents, and talking to different people on the panel here, I've gotten various different answers as to who controls or is responsible for maintaining those parcels. And this is why I'm here tonight, to try to address that issue, to get an answer as to that question. So I don't know who to direct. I know Gary and I'm that guy, that we've been conversing back and forth today, but I thought I would come to a meeting to officially address that.
No, and I appreciate you coming to the meeting. So basically, you're referring to, just so I can clarify for the rest of the board, the private property obviously is the property owner's responsibility to keep those areas clean and cut and that kind of thing. But you're referring to, in between the backs of the private property is it's like the properties don't meet in the middle.
Yes.
Where it does in several other spots in Lockport Township and Lockport property. So I actually had this question asked about 2.5 or 3 years ago, and I went to Debbie Mason, the assessor, and I said the same thing: who owns these properties? Is this my responsibility? And I was told that they are considered private alleys and that no one has ownership of them. So when you came and we started that conversation, we had that conference call with Will County Land Use. There was several people in that meeting, and they agreed and that they were private alleys. So when you asked me to continue to look into it, that's when I reached out to Attorney Mueller and asked him to give me a hand, because I don't, and one comment you made when we were talking is, well, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me either, to be honest with you. Somebody's got to own it, but
Yeah.
the area, I think part of the problem is the area is so old. What is it, from the, I think it goes back to the 30s?
No, 1905.
So, okay, you've done a little bit of research. So, I mean, the only answer that I can give you is at this point in time is those are private alleys. That's what I've been told by the assessor and by Will County, and that's the direction that I have to go.
Yeah, and so based off that meeting that we had with that big group, to follow up, my recollection of that meeting is that we didn't state that they were private alleys, because one of the properties that I have has garbage in that space. I've actually asked Will County Land Use to do some type of violation, and they cannot, because they don't know who to send the violation to, because it's illegal dumping. I cleaned it up once, came back. So in the inspector's mind, I can't pin this on anybody, because if it's a private alley, then somebody would own the private alley. If you have a private roadway that goes into a subdivision or a little community, that community owns it. So what we talked about is if it's a private alley, somebody owns every single piece of land everywhere in the United States at this point in time. So it has to be designated to somebody, and that was where I ended up with that, because then I went in circles and then we started up, and then Mr. Mueller's involved. So we do have a difference of opinion, but in summary, I don't think we're going to resolve this today. But I think as a committee or a township, from what I've read and what I've researched, the default is the highway commissioner, and we've been communicating back and forth with that. But I think I've taken it upon myself to try to resolve this. But I think the issue is that I'm asking a question, and it's up for debate, and I'm not sure how that can be up for debate. I get it, nobody's been around, it's so old, but we should know, and that's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, let me just make one comment on that part. It's only up for debate because you want to debate it, and I'm not trying to be rude. What I'm saying is, this is what I've been told. The other thing that I'd like to comment on is defaulting back to the highway department. The only thing that would, to me, that would make sense would it be a public utility easement.
Yeah.
I'm not a public utility, so I don't know how it would fall back on me. I do know there is a statute or a law in the books that recently came up on one of my streets where it was a private subdivision, but it was a public road that was open more than 15 years. So I inherit a 33-foot easement from the center of the road out, off the center of the road. So that is an easement where the highway department works. As far as inheriting or it falling back on me in between the backs of private property, I don't agree, and that's why actually I got Mr. Mueller involved. I didn't mean to step on your toes there, Gary, but because I would need some help as well on that.
So from what I'm taking is, it's basically, from all the months of dealing with this, it's more of an interpretation. I can't seem to find any ordinance or law that says this. So is that the consensus of where we're at right now? Is it something that has to kind of go up the chain? Or is this something that can be resolved? Or
if I may, I have had a number of back and forth with either Mr. Horvath, also with Commissioner Shilinski. Long story short is simply this. I have provided different avenues, different options. I think once again, I'm just the attorney, so I'm not the elected official, but just as the attorney, I think part of it is that the answers provided are not ones that the recipient wants to hear. So one way to do this is you pay for a title policy for each one of the affected areas, each one of the houses. You do what's called a tract search. The title company then goes through, takes the PIN number, takes the legal description for property, determines who owns whatever it is that you're asking them to identify. That would be one way. Another way, if you then don't like the answer for that, you then have to file a suit, called a quiet title suit, where you then ask the judge, tell me who the heck owns this. In my 29 years of practicing law, and yes, it's a practice, we lawyers never seem to get it right, but we keep practicing. In my 29 years, it doesn't default to the highway department. It just doesn't. If you had, and some of the information that Mr. Horvath did provide, there are subdivision plats that are out there. Well, there's a subdivision plat that's out there, and there was a target or a plan to take up an alleyway, then you have to look to, and I mentioned this to Mr. Horvath before, you then have to look at the plat, you have to look at the ordinance, the documentation that goes with that, to find out, did the highway commissioner at the time accept it? Just because somebody draws a picture and says, you highway commissioner, this is going to be yours, doesn't mean it's his. He doesn't take it until he accepts it. If he doesn't accept it, then it's not a default to the township highway department. It's then whoever owned the property, whoever the developer was who came up with this subdivision. It didn't then transfer to anyone. He or she didn't sell it to each one of the unit owners that bought a lot. And he or she apparently, if that's the set of circumstances that applies, didn't then transfer it to anyone. Nobody accepted it, so he or she, developer, kept it all this time. The way you find that out, though, there are ways to find it out. It's just there is a cost to that. I sent an engagement letter, as we do anytime anybody asks the highway department if they're willing to vacate any part of what we own here in Lockport Township. The procedure has always been, since I've been here anyway, we then send an engagement letter to the person making the request. He or she then understands that I'm working on behalf of the township that they pay for to then do all the work that has to be done, but it's their cost and expense. It's not, doesn't come out of the highway department's budget because it's actually for that person. Part of the problem or part of the concern is that when someone does that procedure, unless he or she owns both sides of that alleyway or both sides of that roadway that's going to be vacated, you may, person who's making the request, be actually expending funds for your neighbor. Your neighbor, if we vacate an alleyway, for example, and you get half of it, your neighbor next to you gets the other half, even if he or she didn't get time, because the township highway department will have then vacated that alley and the ownership goes between them. If the person who started the process goes to his or her neighbor and says, hey, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna pay for all this, you're not paying for anything. I need a deed from you for the part of the alleyway that you're gonna get that you didn't pay anything for, and I'll give you $100. I've seen that happen before, and that's fine. But at least the process says, if we're gonna vacate a roadway like that, the adjacent property owners each get half, unless they agree otherwise. So there is a procedure. It is not for this board, quite honestly, to do. There are ways that anybody making a similar request can get the answers. It's gonna cost money. Each one of those track searches is probably, I'm guessing, is probably between $75 and $125 for each and every parcel that you want to find out about. It's going to give you an answer. From there, you then can decide later, you go through the vacation process, if in fact it shows that the Lockport Township Highway Department owns that, or if you find out the developer owns it, you then go back and try to find him or her and say, okay, you didn't do this right the first time. Are you willing to fix it now? In my experience, developers give it away to you immediately. Because they don't want it. They wanted to get rid of it before and nobody would take it. So there are ways to resolve it. It's really not anything that I would advise this board that it's your expense to do that, unless you voluntarily decide you want to pay $75 to $125 per unit, per lot, per parcel, and then from there continue to make payments and pay for me to do the work, which is not what our typical procedure has been in 29 years.
Rebuttal that, or so. I just, in closing, I would just like to say I knew all of this before I started talking to everybody. Some of you have received the information that I've sent, very thorough. I researched it to the nth degree. I don't agree with everything that Mr. Mueller said. Some of it, we've emailed about it, so we don't need to discuss that in the forum. But I did bring this up in the beginning to think of it as a whole project, not my parcel per se. So it was more to deal with the entire length up the block or the alley. This isn't a onesie-twosie thing. It wouldn't make sense to do that. It doesn't solve a greater problem. So that's where I was headed with this. It sounds like we're exactly where we were maybe an hour ago. So that's what I needed to say.
Can I ask?
No.
And I don't know if you had it in an email, I'm sorry because I didn't see it, but what are we talking about? I mean, like, how many parcels of land are we talking? And are they all adjacent to each other, like one alley, or are they spread apart in the neighborhood? Or what?
So what Mr. Mueller was referring to the pictures is I drew pictures, but I also included all the plats from 1920. In Fairmont, there's about 7 subdivisions. 3 or 4 don't have the alleys or the right-of-ways. The other 3 do. With regards to public utility easements or whatnot, the ones that don't have the alleys, there are utility poles there, but there is no space in between them. Those don't have any issues. And why 3 of them were subdivided together and why the other 4 were not, I have no clue. We weren't there. So, but in the ones with the 4 where there's the space, that's where all the problems are. And when we're talking parcels, if you're referring to my specific ones or the ones in general, it's the entire blocks. You're thinking 10 on each side. So you're talking 20 per block in each subdivision. So that's what the images that I sent that outline all that are included in one of the emails. I'm sure I could forward them to you. Some of the people have gotten them, but they're quite lengthy, but I can share them.
There's pictures on the interpage.
I didn't bring anything with me because it was just an open discussion just to get it out. So that's where we're at. So we're not talking hundreds. It's a very small amount. And my theory was, this is so old, I could only find one record of a vacation of an alley. And that was an alley that was on a corner. And the person just wanted the land because there was really no point. And there's no alleys there. There's no roads. It's just space. And the reason I found out about Mr. Mueller is because he handled that case, and that's where we are. That was the only one I could find that was vacated. So if we're talking about doing these plat searches and surveys, I don't see how these are, somebody's done this before, so I don't think we're going to run into a lot of those issues. So I was trying to do it as a whole effort, not just mine.
If I could, just on the matter that Mr. Corbett is discussing, it was a resident who came to the board, asked that the alleyway be vacated. Title was pulled on it. There were surveys that were done. You had a survey of the one parcel, survey of the other parcel. Then you have to have a survey of what you're then going to divide from the vacation of the alleyway. Notice was published in the newspaper. There was a hearing at the site. I actually drove to the site because this is the procedure that you do. And you see if anybody complains about it. No one did. Then we brought it back to the board. There's an ordinance that's drafted by the highway commissioner. It's then presented to the board passes it for the vacation of the alleyway. So it's even more than simply, so I guess in summary, all those steps that I mentioned kind of more generally about what I thought Mr. Corbett would need to do were done in that case. So the starting point though was the track suit, which is the $7,525. From that though, you're still going to have the legal work that needs to be done, the notices that go into the paper, that's a cost for that. I apologize as I sit here, I don't remember what that is, but it's like between $100 and $200 just for the notice, then to go out and stand there and hope that nobody shows up. And in the times that I have done these, no one has ever showed up for the vacation.
That cost, is that the homeowner?
And all of that was on the person who made the request.
So basically, and I'm not the highway commissioner, I'm just the highway commissioner's jurisdiction. But my opinion is basically you're welcome to do all the legwork and money and cost, and you might be able to get it vacated. I don't see why people wouldn't want to vacate it, but it's costly on your side.
So that's what I'm saying, what I'm hearing is no governmental body will accept any type of responsibility for these dead zones that exist. I'm not putting that on you, but this is where we're at, and that's where I think we need to be, because nobody will accept ownership of them.
Well, Mr. Horvath, if I could just say something. Actually, my parents live in the city of Joliet. They have a similar situation like this where it's considered a private alleyway. And of course, it's grass. I mean, there's some alleys in Joliet that are gravel, blacktop, whatever, but my parents and their neighborhood is all grass. So their situation was, well, if it's a private driveway or alleyway, why do we have to maintain it? They went to the city of Joliet, same situation, not as much, I mean, they didn't have the litter situation that you do. The city of Joliet told them, it is a private alleyway. You are to maintain it. They're like, but if it's private and it's not our property, and the city of Joliet says that they have to have access to it whenever they need it for easement, for the utilities have to come in there, ComEd, whoever, they still have to have access to it. Some neighbors choose to take care of that alleyway by cutting it, and some don't. And that's the unfortunate problem. I mean, my parents obviously take a little more pride in their property, even though it's an alley that nobody uses, and it is private, they still mow it. But 2 people down from them, they don't want to mow it, it's 3 feet high. The city will come, give them a citation, they go down to City Hall and they fight it. Whose property is it?
And that's
So just so you know, I mean, the situation is like that in Joliet as well. But there are a lot of the homeowners do take care of, even though it's not theirs, they take care of it. That's the,
okay. That would be it.
okay.
I mean, ideally, the best thing would be to split that thing right down the middle, give it to that landowner and that landowner, but you can't just willy-nilly do that. You have to go through the procedure, and they're kind of expensive.
Yeah.
One of the common things, if you notice in those private alleys, is there's power lines generally running through there. So I'm assuming it's just that they're in a gas, I don't know what they're thinking back when, you utilities were just getting put in there, but I have a feeling those are kind of just utility areas, so they can get back there and work on trucks. But I will tell you this, we've had some residents call and ask me about trees being cut down in those alleys because they're hitting the power lines. And I was told by the insurance company, you don't own it, you better not go on it. So I suggested they call ComEd, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know, Belinda, you may know this answer, but ComEd was not really receptive to the idea either. But I just, my theory was, they must have just, whoever designed that subdivision, so we gotta have a place for whatever, maybe sewer when sewer comes in there, or, you know.
And that's why it's weird with the other three, there isn't.
Yes, and I have the exact same issue on Highland Avenue in Lockport, where the areas butt up together, but they have a 10 or 20 foot, it's 20, because it's 10 for each parcel, utility easement, and they kept saying it's yours, it's yours, it's yours, and land use came out there and says, he's not allowed on here, it's private property. The homeowner has to maintain that, even though, you know, but their properties do come together, so it's a little different situation, but.
So it's, you said it's a highway commissioner issue, but it's not.
Well, and I'll just say this, I think the reason that's been said is, in township government, the highway department and the township offices are two separate entities, or municipal corporations is what they're considered. So technically, I collect my own taxes, and I have my own budget, my own stuff, and then they have theirs as well.
Yeah.
So the trustees do approve my bills, the levy, the budget, but like I don't, once my meeting's over here in a few minutes, then they open up their meetings.
Okay.
I get to say nothing. I mean, I can comment, I didn't get the way I came out. But I mean, I have no jurisdiction over their meetings. We are definitely separate entities.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Jerry, can I just ask you, I don't know if you can give an answer, you know, if you've been informed about the properties and such, and we handled this before, like, is there a roundabout figure that would come into play as far as, you know, if we did these steps, or whoever went through these steps, how much it would cost? You said, you know, you'd bring 75 to 100 per household, I don't know, you said there was like 10 households on each side, and there's 3 of those.
There's 3 groups. Plus there's more.
There will be an economies of scale, meaning if you're doing it for a whole alleyway all at the same time, that would make it less expensive. But general rule of thumb, if you thought $1,300 or $1,500 per parcel would not be enough. Because there's just that much paperwork that's involved. Plus you then have to do the ordinance for each one to bring it back to the board to make sure it passes, to then get the resolution that then has to be recorded even after that. So if you figured about $1,500 per property, unit, parcel, whatever you want to call it. So if you have 2 together, that's 2. This is 2 times that.
As far as like Will County land use, who've been contacted, they've got no interest or no.
No, and I think, at least what I could read through from what Mr. Horvath was indicating, I think the county has been rather consistent, as I think we have been as well, which is simply, until we know who owns them, no governmental entity wants to touch it, because no governmental entity wants to spend funds if they have no jurisdiction on it. So, for example, in what I mentioned before, if we do the research, we find out that these never got turned over properly by the developer, then you go find the developer, and that's the person who then quote unquote owns it, and then the developer could then do their series of deeds where they deed half of this part of the alley to this person, half of this part to the other person. So if it's them, then there's no cost on us. There's no cost on the county either, and thankfully for Mr. Horvath, there'd be no cost to him. But it works out to be where, at some point in time, the township highway commissioner at that time accepted it, then we're back to it being an our issue. Then we come before Commissioner Shalinski and say, are you willing to vacate these? More likely than not, that's his decision. If he says yes, then someone making the request hires us, we go through the process, and in 2 months it's all done. But it all depends on who owns it.
All right, well, I wish there was an easy answer, obviously.
No, I appreciate everybody's time.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. All right, any other citizens wishing to address the Highway Commission? Please state your name and record.
Antoinette Walker. I'm well, Ms. Alberico. Hello, board. Again, my name is Antoinette Walker, and I'm here today. I stand before you basically in honor of my son. His name is Deont'e Lesley. I apologize in advance, because sometimes I do get emotional when I tell the story. I lost my son in 2011 to gun violence. He was an innocent victim. And my reasons for being here today is that I give back to the community. I used to live on Fairmount Avenue. And before Deont'e passed away, him and his brothers and a few of his friends, they always gave back. They would cut the grass, rake the leaves, shovel the snow for the sick, the elderly, the disabled, and the single parents. So when I lost Deont'e, I prayed and I asked the Lord, could he give me something to do in order to honor him and to continue his legacy of what he used to do, so that I wouldn't be in the house depressed, shut in, just crying all the time. So the Lord revealed to me, go back to the community and do what he always would do. So every year, I do a real big event for his birthday and the anniversary of his passing. His birthday is August 18th, and the anniversary of his passing is January 3rd. So in the summer time, the fall, however, whichever, we always go to the community, which we will be up there the 18th and the 19th, just going down, straight down Fairmount Avenue. And if we are able and we get enough volunteers, we go to the other blocks over, just clearing out everybody's yards, picking up all the trash, the debris, and everything, and just offering words of encouragement to the neighbors in the neighborhood. So today I had came in hopes that you all would be willing to help me honor Deont'e with an honorary street sign. I've helped a lot of at-risk youth. I mentor them. I show them the right way to go when they're heading down the wrong way. I've, on many occasions, when they come from broken homes, and some of the parents may be on drugs, or some may be incarcerated, parents not able to really provide for the children, I will help the children with school clothes, shoes, supplies. This year, we sent a young lady to prom. We paid for everything for the young lady. City Councilman, Mr. Morris, he helped us with the limo ride and everything like that. So I try to connect myself with a lot of people in the community, as far as the barbers, the beauticians, to help me help the children that's in need. And children that need the community service hours for school. I am a 501c3 in the name of the foundation. I apologize, the Deont'e Lesley Foundation. I give out these certificates after they complete the community service in the area, so they can take to school and they document it at school. And then if there's some that may get in trouble in court, I type up a professional letter, and they will take their letter to court. And it has basically, it really has helped them with their community service hours and the different things that will be required from them, from the court. I did go down Fairmont, and I did get a petition with a lot of the signatures of all the residents that live in that area, and they were very happy to be in support of the vision that I am trying to bring to life in honor of my son. So I have been talking with Annette and Lauren. I spoke with Ms. Alberico and Mr. Zelinsky, so they asked me to come today and share the story with the rest of the board members. So that's why I'm here today, and I'm just basically asking, would you be willing to help me honor my son the way I feel that he should, because of the street. I mean, that area, we always are there, and we always give it to the elderly and give it back to the community.
Just to be clear, what street is it? Fairmount?
Yes, sir. From State Street, Fairmount and State Street, all the way to Brazel, because we stayed close to the Brazel end of Fairmont.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm sincerely sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much.
And your deep felt approach to the board. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that story.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for coming. I believe, since I've been the highway commissioner, we had one street that was dedicated, and basically what the procedure is, we're so glad you came and shared that with us. The decision is then made by the trustees and the supervisor,
Yes.
and as soon as they give me if they give me the go-ahead, then I will order the sign and we'll put it up for you for sure. So I guess a discussion has to be done. I don't know if you guys do that and then let them know. I think, don't we table that for like a month and then they discuss it and talk about it? So in the next month meeting, then they would vote on that. I just want to let you know what the procedure is. So.
Yes, sir.
And I apologize, I probably should have stopped you right in the beginning. We do have this on the agenda
Yes.
on a town meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
That's all right.
it's very
I'm not gonna
confusing.
make- I'm not going to go through it again.
Yeah, no.
But we can't take action in this meeting.
Yes, sir.
We can take action whenever we get to the town meeting in about 20 minutes, half hour, because it is on the agenda and we can have a discussion and make a decision tonight if we want to. Since it is on
But we
the
don't
agenda.
have to wait till next month? We could do it tonight? Since it's on the agenda.
It is on the agenda.
Resolution, you could.
Yeah. But it's not on this agenda. So we have to go.
That's right. So
Into the town meeting.
you hang for
So
20
I
minutes.
apologize.
Yeah, if you can stay, in case they have any questions, yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, and can I ask one more question? If you guys do decide, praying that you do, would you be willing to do a dedication on his birthday, which is Saturday, the 18th? If it's at all possible. If not,
To be honest with you, if I got the okay right now, I probably could not get a custom-made sign that quickly.
okay,
Even my, and I don't know why, I've asked this 100 times, but even like the speed limit signs, weight limit signs are 3 to 4 weeks out. And those
Okay.
are normal signs.
mhm,
A custom-made sign could be up to 6 weeks,
okay,
but, so that wouldn't make it, I don't think.
What we can do though is we can put it on our website
Yeah, absolutely.
and we can put it up. We have these nice TVs
screens
now
here
and we
with
can
the
put
thing on there.
them up there to honor your son.
that would be amazing. Thank you so much, I appreciate your time.
But stick
Again,
around for a
sorry
little
for
bit
the
in case they have some questions.
Okay,
Thank you for coming tonight.
you're welcome, and thank you for listening.
All right, any other citizens wishing to address the highway commissioner here tonight? Seeing none, we'll go on to the highway commissioner's report. Next.
Everything I have to say is meaningless at this point. I mean, really, that's a huge tragedy. All right, let me gather my thoughts here. All right, so as far as the highway department is concerned, we, Will County and I are continuing on the flooding, the flood study work. I think they're into phase 3. I do have a little concern about one street where they did some work. They skipped about a block and then did some more work. And that one area they skipped does have some flooding issues, so I'm just going to call the engineering company, V3, and just make sure that they're not done there, or that they're aware that it does flood there. We have a flooding issue behind the Speedway, Lock and Maryville and First Street. So we've been working on that for about 2 weeks. We've replaced several culverts and put several catch basins in. We had an engineer do a little study in that area. So we're following his plan, and that's working out really well. We're probably about 3/4 of the way done. It was suggested that we wait until we get a good sized rain just to make sure what we've done so far is working before we finish it all and not have to make changes. The flooding issue on Bruce Road has been so far so good. We went from cutting grass every other week at the beginning of the season to we haven't cut grass for, well, they cut maybe once in the last couple of weeks. So the grass has slowed down. Other than that, we just continue to pick up branches. One thing I would like to say, if the chip truck, it's the 2nd and 4th Thursday and Friday of the month, if you do not see the chip truck come by and pick up your branches, there's just a couple of reasons. The last couple of times the chipper has broken down, so we will be out there on a Monday or Tuesday. I think they were out there today chipping what they missed on Thursday and Friday. So don't panic, you can definitely give us a call. The other reason is because maybe the branches were tangled up or a little bit too big. We do have certain requirements for safety, so the chip crew can get to that stuff. And if they don't pick them up because of that reason, we do also, we'll come by with our backhoe with a big claw on it. We'll pick them up eventually. It's just that we kind of have to schedule. Other than that, we're still looking at working with Will County Land Use on some lighting issues in Fairmont. We want to switch to LED so that we can get some more lights out there for the same price as the budget. Right now, oil and asphalt paving has gone up 3 times so far this summer because of the, I mean, you know how the gas rates go up. Well, that's all made out of petroleum, so paving goes up quite a bit as well. And I'm waiting to find out. I should be knowing any day of what the salt costs for next year. We have to place our order in February of last year for salt for this year, but we're placing an order without knowing what the cost is. So that's always an exciting time because we've gone from $48 one year to $103 a ton back to $52 a ton. So that's a guessing game. So I should be getting that pretty soon. Other than that, that's about all I have, unless I forget something. But
All right, well, thank you very much.
yes, sir.
I have no other business unless some of the trustees have something that would like to talk to you about. If not, I have no reasons going from executive session, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
second by Barb Delaney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. We'll be moving into our general assistance fund. Again, you have the minutes in your packet of the monthly meeting of July 10th, 2018. I do need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Barb Boyce. Any questions of the minutes tonight? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. You have the bills of $11,754.46. I do need a motion to pay the bills.
Make that motion to pay the bills.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
second by Barb Delaney. Any questions of the bills? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Any citizens wishing to address the board for the general assistance tonight? Seeing none, I will move on to new business. On your agenda, I have the approval for 3 people to attend the GA training on Saturday, November 11th. As you may recall from last year, TOI is on that weekend, the TOI conference, which starts Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We usually go down there to the conference. The last year and this year, they're doing a special general assistance training on that Saturday. So I would like to go down there again, and I'll bring my secretary, who does the caseworker, and the new caseworker that we're training right now for that. So I would entertain a motion to approve the 3 people to go through GA training.
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion by Barb Delaney.
No.
I'm sorry, Barb Boyce.
Second.
Second by Barb Delaney. Get, too many Barbs here. Sorry. Any questions?
Yeah, Ryan, I just have a question. So this is in conjunction with the conference that you're already attending? It's just like a separate seminar?
Yeah, it's the day before the
Okay.
actual training. The TOI starts on Sunday.
Okay,
This
it
is
starts on
Saturday.
Saturday.
It's a special training.
Okay.
This is for our assistants.
All right, there's additional cost to this
Yes.
training?
So we're gonna have,
And it comes out of the general assistance fund.
Okay,
That's right.
all right.
So that'll include hotel rooms for the night then too?
Yeah.
Would that be for all three attending, or just,
What's that?
would that be for all three attendees, would they be
Right.
spending the night there? Because I know whoever's going to the TOI would be staying, but
Well, we're not going to drag down the spring, we're going to come back Sunday.
So that's one night on.
One night on Saturday night.
Registration.
And the registration form is, I believe, in your packets. Show you. It's at the Crown Plaza in Springfield, same as the TOI conference.
Do you do special rates on the rooms for that?
I believe we do.
Do you have any idea what the cost is?
I think they're usually about $98, it looks like. Hotel rate for the annual conference for the 11th through the 13th is extended to $98 on that Friday also, for that Saturday.
And then these three individuals are going to be staying down there for the Sunday as well, for the conference, okay? All right.
So it's 2 nights then.
They'll be staying 3 nights, everybody else will be staying 2 nights. We'll be playing Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night. The rest of the conference starts on Sunday, so they'll stay Sunday and Monday night. We all come home Tuesday.
And for the other conference on Sunday and Monday, how many additional people from the township are going to be attending?
And the town fund,
Is that the town? Okay.
we'll be asking for that. I have, I believe, up to 12. I know not everybody goes.
Okay, we're doing that separately.
We do that separately.
Okay.
Yes.
So Ron, you want this motion to be 1 night in registration and then you're going to tack on the other 2 nights?
2 nights, and yeah, this is just for the general assistance, because this comes out of general assistance. So we have to separate it. So I have a motion, a second, questions? Can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli,
yes.
Pickens,
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. You have in your packets the new, I wanted to do this in this meeting, so it'll be in the minutes. I'm going to be effective September 1st of this year. The emergency maximum income level and the payment level is going to be increased. And I gave you a list of what the old incomes and payment levels were and what the new ones will be, starting September 1st. This is just for informational purposes. I just want to make sure everybody understood that September 1st, we will be doing it yearly instead of every other year. And the income levels go up and the payment levels go up.
Ron, is that what guidelines on?
We got that, yeah, it's the supervisor's position to run the general assistance and make those decisions. So that's, like I said, starting September 1st. And then like that, we put it in the minutes, that's really why it's has to be announced. I have no other business. In your packets you have you have your financial reports this month of what we spent for general assistance, your annual financial breakdown, and your financial monthly reports. Any questions on those?
Just like to make a comment again. It's just, it just seems such a waste of money, how much money we, I know that this is required by law that we do this, but it's not required that we spend $10,090 for administration to give out $1,700. That seems like
big government waste.
I understand
I
your
don't agree.
frustration.
That's the only comment I have to make.
I understand your frustration, but by law, I have to do general assistance.
By law, you have to do general assistance. By law, you don't have to spend 10 times what you give away.
All right. Well, take it. Appreciate it. I have no other business. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
second by Barb Delaney. All in favor? Opposed? That's it. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to our senior fund. Again, you have the minutes. Every monthly meeting of July 10th, last month. I need a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Barb Boyce. Any questions of the minutes tonight? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. We have the approval of the bills of $27,809.66.
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce to pay the bills.
Second.
A second by Barb Delaney. Any questions of tonight's bills? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Fickus,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Under new business, I have the approval to use the township bus for the CASA event in Christmas. We've done this for the past 3 years, I believe. We donated our bus for the train up from Joliet to Tinley Park, and then we use our buses to bring the people around to the different events there. Last month when Rita was here, she did give us a letter, and she has, and we did, I did send them their, what we usually help with their CASA budget, and they are asking for permission to use the train, so I did put it on tonight's bill, or to use the buses. So I have the agenda for tonight. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Barb Boyce. We'll have a roll call.
Alberico,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Fickus.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. The only other thing I had in old business, I just wanted to make everybody aware that next, I don't know if it's on this bill list, but it will be on next bill list. We're renting, we have had to rent a van because one of our buses had to go in for the brake changes and the oil changes, and it was out of service for the day for 4 or 5 hours, whatever it was. So we rented a van, and then the other bus went in, so we had a rental for that bus too. coming up. I have no other business unless there's any questions.
I just have one comment. Do we have headsets or something for the drivers to receive calls while they're driving the bus?
They have phones, yes. I'm not sure if they wear headsets or not.
The reason I'm asking is I was at Division and East Street August 3rd. One of the drivers was talking on his cell phone while driving the bus.
Yeah.
So that would be a liability for us. So if they don't have them, they do make some type of Bluetooth or even a speaker to give them to your visor. They're pretty cheap. We should probably provide them with that.
I believe we probably do already, but sometimes those guys are hard to. But I will bring that to
I
our
don't know who
attention.
the driver was,
Yeah.
but we have to
Follow
make sure
the law.
that doesn't
That's
happen.
the law. I agree with you. I will bring that to the attention of the drivers. I have nothing else in senior fund, so I would ask for an attorney.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
second by Barb Delaney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, now we're to the town fund. Everybody again has the minutes of the regular meeting of July 10th. You also have in your packet the workshop meeting of July 31st. And also you received the minutes of the executive session of March 6th. I do need approval to accept all these minutes, I believe. Our attorney did go over the,
Can we do a second one for executive?
would you like to go separate? Okay. Let's ask for approval of the monthly meeting and the workshop. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Barb Boyce. Any questions of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. You also have the executive session, which our attorney's gone through, and I believe it's his opinion that we could open them.
Sure. There's a typo that will fix.
The reason, just so everybody understands why we do what we do and how we do it, in order to go over the minutes in the executive session, we have to go into an executive session, which would cause another 6 months down the road to go into an executive session to open up the minutes of the executive session. It's just a continuing saga. So the way to get around that is we let our attorney make the call for us, and we don't have to go into an executive session. So it's his opinion. I agree with him. I believe it's okay to open them. So I need a motion to release the minutes from the executive session of March 6, 2018.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Barb Boyce. Any questions of the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Approval of the bills. The bills are $145,591.24. I do need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Boyce,
Second.
second by Barb Delaney. Any questions of tonight's bills? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Delaney?
Yes.
Sigus?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Any citizens here wishing to address the board from the town hall? Seeing none, we'll go on to the assessor's report.
I have two things tonight. On August 1st, our assessment notices were mailed from the county. We are in the middle of our appeal and hearing time. If you did not receive a assessment notice, that means that we did not do any changes from our office. We changed about 5,500 parcels this year. The deadline to file for the board review is Tuesday, September 4th. even if you did not receive a notice, you still have the right to file with the Board of Review. You only have 30 days to file, so make sure if you want to get it in by September 4th. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, last year we started what was called Trunk or Treat Alley. As far as I remember, it was a huge success. We didn't expect, we had about 300 people who showed up. We're looking to ask the board again to use the building on October 25th. It's a Thursday night. We would like to do it from 5:30 to 7:30. We're really looking to move it inside this year. Last year we did have a really good day, but the odds of having another one in October is pretty much slim to none. We have it so that we're going to do like different rooms and everything. We're going to have games down the center and have, like, I know that there's about a lot of people have been talking about it with the senior, I think you said the senior group that you had wanted to participate.
Just to be able to volunteer.
Right, and we have the ladies from the Witches Night Out. We also were contacted by Limestone Theater to help with it, and the Park District made mention of possibly having a haunted bus in the parking lot. I'm not really sure about that yet. We would like to either provide popcorn, maybe hot dogs. We haven't got that far yet. You know, it's just been a discussion thing. We are going to have costume contests. If we do advertise, if we vote on it tonight or approve it tonight, we could also get it in our newsletter. I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean, I don't even know if we, it's just asking for the board to allow us to use the building again. So I can ask for that. We would also like to request, and I know I can't request it tonight because it wasn't on the agenda, but have the township come out of the township fund to provide funds in order to do this function. Last year, I know I spent quite a bit of money out of my pocket. I know Barb Delaney did also. We would like to provide something for the children of our community and township, you know, not just the seniors, but have a safe place for the kids in our community to come and be able to trick or treat inside instead of having to worry about going door to door places that are may not be safe. This way we know that we're providing a function just for our children. I can bring it up at the next meeting. We would like to ask for not to exceed $1,500 in order to pay for the candy, food, popcorn, you know, things like that, all the games. And that's anything else?
I would just, I mean, so basically, like, for example, the way that CASA came to us does, even though this is an internal function, so does Debbie have to come to us in a formal letter to ask for that date and for money?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
It's, even though I've asked Debbie to spearhead this and you to spearhead this,
Right.
this is a township
Okay.
function.
So that means, can the decision be made tonight then to have that date and use the inside of the building?
I definitely think that's, it would be done, you know, we can decide that, that's
Okay.
the building. As far as the money, we should probably put that on the agenda next month, just to be on the,
Okay.
just to be on the clear and transparency.
Okay.
And we did already pass the budget, and it does have line items for projects, and now we
Right.
consider this a project.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and do that, but
Well,
just,
plus there's those other accounts that you had always mentioned in the past that don't get used for community
Right.
items. We could probably
and
look at
actually
that.
maybe next year, when we're putting our budget line items together, we can add a new line item
Okay.
for some retreat problem.
I know, because we do quite a bit for seniors. We don't really have a function for children to come in, and I just want to make a safe environment for
I
them.
agree with you, I'm going to be sensitive to enough for kids, but we also don't want to, and Park District does a wonderful job with the kids and stuff, and I always try not to duplicate.
Right.
But this is a
But
wonderful
I
project.
don't think we're doing
No,
it.
this is
Okay.
wonderful.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I would just remind you to put that in the budget, or for the agenda next month, and we'll go ahead and approve the money, but unless anybody has an issue with the use of the building, we'll go ahead and put it on the calendar tomorrow morning for that day.
Okay, so we can get it inside of the the mailer that goes out?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I have tonight, thank you.
All right, after the assessor's report, we'll move on to the clerk's report.
Thank you, Ron. So the website design is in its second phase, and Revise will convert the original website over to our new one. So I'm just asking the officials that haven't already submitted anything to, any information that you would like to add, delete, or update, please get that as soon as possible. Community baby shower, which is totally run by Women United and United Way of Will County. The only thing that we're doing here at Lockport Township is that we are collecting items for them to be bundled on the shower day, which is Sunday, September 16th from 1 to 4. I did ask you if you could please, pass this flyer around to your staff or to the community that we are accepting donations for diapers of all sizes, diaper wipes, diaper cream, baby wash, and baby lotion. So United Way of Will County has found that they are in need of these items throughout the county. And they love this location, of course, and this kind of central location in Will County. So they are going to have the community baby shower here. I want to thank Delinda for doing what she can in the Fairmont area to pass things out. We did get a few donations, but not that many. So please come here during office hours, and if you're kind enough to donate those items. Grandparents' Day Out was held on Friday, August 10th from 10 to 1, and I think the Park District did a wonderful job. I'd like to thank the following organizations. We got some donations from Jewel, Culver's, and McDonald's, and the township entered a gift basket for the event. In the clerk's office, the documentation, Deputy Clerk has scanned approximately 6,000 documents so far, and I believe all of Road and Bridge is complete. So all your documents are safe in a nice little file. But we have another 10,000 to go or more. It's been a long process. But, Ron, as I mentioned, pretty soon you can have that app on one of your computers, and you guys can look at all the documents you want like that. So it is a very good program. Last day to register to vote is October 9th. If anyone would like the clerk's office to come out to their facility to register voters, please contact the office. We will once again be going out to Lockport Township High School in late September or early October. Election judges are needed for the November 6th election. If you would like to participate, you have to be a registered Will County voter and attend a 2-hour training class in order to be an election judge. There is a $135 which you earn plus mileage reimbursement. So please contact the Will County clerk. They are looking for both Republican and Democrat election judges. Early voting is right around the corner. October 22nd in the Lockport Township Clerk's office. Vote by mail requests are being accepted now. They will be mailed out September 22nd. So if you can't make it to the polls, please get a vote by mail ballot. Contact the Will County Clerk's office. Last Wednesday, Will Grundy Clerks Association held their meeting here in the multi-purpose room, and the attorney from the city of Lockport, Sonia Williams, talked about the Open Meetings Act and the FOIA. It was very informative. There was about 13 clerks in attendance, and they all complimented very much on this building. They were all a little bit envious. So I believe that's all I have on. I didn't know if you were going to talk about John Connors today.
I don't believe I did.
John Connors having his senior event
Oh.
on October 5th from 9 a.m. to noon, and we usually always
Well,
each get a table for that. So I don't know if you want to send separate ones in or just all together.
I think Michelle sent ours in the other day.
Okay.
Well, yeah, go ahead and send yours
All right,
in.
thank you. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
All right, moving on then. Trustees' comments and suggestions tonight.
I have a question, I guess it's not a comment or a suggestion. I guess this would be directed to our attorney in regards to the next item that is on our agenda for discussion. Are we not in violation of the Opens Meeting Act, since what is being proposed to us on this agenda to approve was not what was discussed in a workshop that we had had?
How is this different from what was,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
how is this different from what was discussed?
Because what's being proposed to us is just the utilization of our kitchen. And there was a lot more being asked in the contract and in the workshop that we had had.
I'm sorry, to understand a little more what your question is. If we had had a discussion that was extended for an hour and discussed a bunch of different things, and then out of that we take one item, as long as it was discussed in executive session, that's the key with the open meetings act, is to make sure it was discussed at some point. I thought that it was discussed. Perhaps I'm wrong, but if it wasn't discussed at all, then you're right.
No, this was just one item that was discussed. There were more items that are being asked of us that are not on this agenda.
All right, I guess I could have put it in there as approval to accept the contract that was given to us, that Gary's gone through. But I didn't put it in that way. I thought it was just, maybe it's my misunderstanding. I thought we were all talking the same thing. We talked openly in an open meeting last month about having meals here and the Meals on Wheels, and talked about both in the open meeting in the workshop. That's what we included.
Right, no, I mean, I understand that, I agree with you, but what I'm getting at is,
wrong,
right, plus to me, it's just that it's not, again, we're not being transparent to anybody else. I mean, anybody else who sees this agenda, basically, they are only seeing that we are being asked for Meals on Wheels to utilize our kitchen. That's not what it's, I mean, anybody else out there is going to think that's all that we're being asked for the kitchen, and we're not. We are being asked to utilize this building Monday through Friday from 9 until 1.
Point taken.
So we're not in violation of anything?
I guess I don't understand the question, only from the standpoint that, at least from what I believe.
Well, my understanding is with the Open Meetings Act is they have to be presented exactly on the agenda what we were being asked to approve. To me, we're being asked to approve, Meals on Wheels is asking us to approve to use the kitchen only. That's what this agenda states to me.
It can then be tabled for next month if you choose to do that.
Then it's going to stall Meals on Wheels moving in. I thought they were going to move in September 1st. It's a technicality. It's a silly technicality, I believe. But because everything that we discussed in last month's meeting, which was an open meeting, and everything that was discussed in the workshop, which was an open discussion in the workshop that was open to the public, has been about the Meals on Wheels program moving into this building as a whole, not just the kitchen. I'm sorry, I just put the utilizing the kitchen. That's my mistake. I think it's a small misunderstanding, technicality. I hate to stall the project for another whole month because of misrepresentation of the word. If that's the way you guys feel, I will put a special meeting together next week. We'll do it next week.
Ron, the contract does say the 1st of October that they're going to come out.
That's just, we haven't changed that. That's just a
Okay.
boilerplate.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm asking the attorney. I mean, if there's not a problem with the Opens Meeting Act that this is okay, then we can go ahead for discussion.
Out of the abundance of caution, if you want to set up a special meeting for next week, you can do that. Until you provided enough notice, public notice of the discussion. Probably then the address that should be listed on the agenda would be memorandum of agreement, non-financial, between the township and Kankakee County Community Services, Inc., of Will County.
Okay, I'll have a special meeting and another.
Ron, can I say something? I don't know, I just like you said, I mean, we did have open discussion in the township meeting, correct? And the workshop we had wasn't open to the public. So I guess, I don't know, I know what Barb is saying as far as what's written here on the paper. I guess she's asking her attorney, you know, if that's an issue. Because not only are we asking for the utilizing of the kitchen, it is, you know, 5 days a week, a certain time limit, and also for the use of a side room for seniors who are qualified for Meals on Wheels to come in and eat in the facility. So, I mean, do you think we should go
Out of an abundance of caution, since it's been brought up, to the special meeting next week and see if the board approves the memorandum of agreement. But please note that just looking at the rest of the agenda, we may have issues with some other items listed here because it does designate an honorable name for a Fairmount Street and doesn't have the name of the person. So utilizing the same rationale.
So basically, we have to table everything until we get to every word.
Well, you have to change that one for sure then too, because the wording isn't, we don't have the name for the person that you would be making a request.
All right.
I just want to go by your recommendation, so I mean, that's all.
Out of abundance of caution, we can have a special meeting on that.
All right, I'll call a special meeting together next week. We'll get this done. All right, moving on. The building report. I just want to let everybody know what's going on in the building. We did have a major gas leak in the building last month. It has been fixed already. We had gas off for a couple of 3 or 4 days. And Mueller and Sons came out and fixed that work. The kitchen, we are working in the kitchen, as you all saw in the workshop. It's coming along. We got the second sink going in. We did put those drains in that you had suggested. Mr. Bickus. Last month, we talked about the security in the building, the cameras and the motion detectors and the panic buttons are supposedly to be installed tomorrow. So they might be in your office early before you get here, but they're supposed to schedule at 6 o'clock in the morning, I think, or 6:30. Okay. 6:30, I'm sorry, 6:30. I did receive a bid, it's not in your package yet, but the building committee was talking about making, no, I did receive a bid, we did talk about this. The security door upstairs, so people can't just wander right into the offices. It's a bid for $5,000. I didn't put it on the agenda tonight, so I'm going to make that. And we do have it in the budget line item. It was passed as a line item, basically for renovations. So if it's all right with you guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign that. I think we can do that. It's under the $20,000, unless somebody's got an issue.
You just got the one bid.
That's all I got right now. Yeah.
Or you get another one though.
I can't, it's getting to a point, it's hard to get people to bid these things. I can't get enough people out there. I'm not going to get one yet, to be honest with you. Everybody's saying, well, we don't want that job, it's too small, it's this, that, we don't have the time for it. So if we're going to make me go get 3 bids, we're never going to get anything done.
Ron, can I bring up something since I'm on that committee? Just so the rest of the board knows. You know, these are some issues, like you said, this committee was formed. That way you don't have to come here, which is basically, your idea. So, I mean, I know we discussed it, but I mean, are we going to have some discussion with the board, or is this just like, the committee decided it and that's it?
Well,
and the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I did speak to a couple of the employees upstairs about their thoughts on what we talked about as far as security doors and their, I don't know, there seemed to be a difference in opinion on what should be exactly done. So I don't know if we could have another committee meeting and discuss it a little further.
Sure. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I thought it was a good idea, but like I said, I'm not in the building every day. Some of the secretaries
I
are.
am, and there's people walking into my office almost daily.
I know, but I mean, I know Debbie utilizes her door and keeps it locked. Nobody can come down that way.
Right.
I don't know if there's an issue with You locking that side?
We don't lock that door, but even though that door is still behind the door that's open to Sherry's office, that walk
I
right
know,
through.
and she's one of the people I talked to about the problem, and, like I said, we could discuss, what she said, or her take on it, I'm just saying, I'm asking this as a question, kind of like I said, is this something that goes in front of the board, or is this?
Well, if you want to put
our
another committee
decision?
meeting together, I'll give you a call, we'll put another committee meeting together, but, and we won't put it, I don't care,
Okay.
We
Well, I'm
don't
just
go
saying.
in. I think it's a ridiculous security breach, though. We don't.
Well, according to Sherry, the people that come into her office, she thinks it's part of her job, that people can come in and ask her questions.
I have no problem with people coming in, but I think they have to stop at the front and be let in, not just walk right in.
No, well, I know, keeping that hallway door locked would be a step in the right direction. I know it's not going to alleviate the whole problem, but it's a step in the right direction. Keep people out of your office.
But basically, that won't alleviate any of the problem because the door is open before that, where you want to put it. So, I mean, okay, I'll put another meeting together out there. I got time. Okay. Next on the, I did, no, my report, I am still trying to find a contractor again, because they're so hard to get here to look at things, about making the handicap doors in the front that we talked about. There's nobody that wants to come out and look at it, nobody knows who does. If it's an electrician's jurisdiction, if it's a door company, a carpenter's jurisdiction, or her. So we're still looking into, maybe we'll have to get a general to do it. Okay, that being said, we'll move on from the building report. We'll go into the new business. I want the approval to appoint a committee for the refuge referendum.
We have to make a motion to table that.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, you guys, do we need to table that, or do we just?
I should table.
Okay, I need a motion to table the Meals on Wheels program.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
Second.
second by Greg Beckus. All in favor? Opposed? Aye. Motion carries. Okay, new business. Approval to appoint a committee for the refuge referendum coming up in November. As everybody may recall, last month, Ms. Herod brought some information to us from Lockport Township, showing me that they had, ahead of the referendum, done their bidding and process. So I did check into Lockport Township. I talked to them. I liked what they said. It's a good idea. What we need to do is put this committee together. We will, the committee will, first of all, we'll decide what we're going to ask the garbage companies for, and we're going to basically mimic, like Greg had asked. We did get the information, bidding process and everything. Wheatland, I'm going to try to probably mirror that, what they asked for, but it'll be up to the committee. And then once we decide what we're going to ask for, we'll send letters out to all the garbage refuge companies to submit a bid. And then when those bids come in, the committee will go through the bids and we'll accept one. And it'll be this, well, again, this board doesn't accept it until after the referendum. But we'll at least have the prices locked in and everything will be set. So what I'm asking to do is I'm going to put a committee of 3 of us together. Myself, I'm asked Belinda Herod if she would be kind enough to be on the committee. She could represent the Fairmont area. I could represent the High Road, Forest Hills area. And there's a gentleman, Carl Groth, that I've talked to who lives in College View, and he can represent that area. So the 3 of us can get together and try to get this put together as quickly as you can. Let's get some prices. I'd like to do it, like I said before, we get the newsletter out, so I can get all the prices and everything put in the newsletter. So if this committee is approved tonight. If I got the wording right for everybody, is that I want to put this off another month. We can approve this committee, I'll put it together, and we'll try to get together by the end of the week.
You need a motion?
And
I'll
entertain
make
a
that motion.
Thank you. I got a motion by Barb Delaney.
I'll second it.
I got a second by Barb Boyce. Any questions? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Alberico,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Next on the agenda is to approve the designate an honorable name for Fairmount Street. It's for Fairmount Street. As we all recall, Ms. Walker talked earlier. I would entertain a motion to do an honorary sign on Fairmount Street for her son who passed away in Philippines.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Barb Boyce. Any questions?
The same concern would be for this provision then as the Meals on Wheels. So if Meals on Wheels is filed at the open meetings, this may be as well. So it doesn't say the name of the person to be designated.
All right, so you can't name the street.
Well, that's just following what we had before. If the board chooses not to do that, they feel as if they've been transparent enough with the presentation made tonight, then we can certainly go forward. But I just mentioned it to be consistent with what was done with the Meals on Wheels item as well.
In my opinion, this isn't as critical. I mean, the mother came before us, in honor of her son. That's just my opinion. I understand about the Open Meeting Act, just, that's not as transparent as this. That's just my opinion.
Think differently. I had Meals on Wheels before us too, and it said support all our seniors. Once. What's the board's favor?
I still make the motion to approve.
Motion on the floor to approve the naming of Fairmount Street in the honor of Mrs. Walker's son. Do I have a second?
There's a first and a second.
There has been a second, I'm sorry. Any other questions?
So is this, it's still going to be Fairmount Street, this will just be a name above Fairmount Street, correct? Okay.
If we name the street, actually change the name, it involves Will County and postal service and everybody.
There's just an honorable sign on top of it.
All right, no questions, I would ask for roll call.
Alberico,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Vickers,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval for up to 12 people to attend the TOI conference in November, on the 11th and 12th.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Barb Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Barb Boyce. Any questions?
I just have a question on the number. When you say up to the 12 people, is that including the 3 that we just approved in the last meeting, or is this an additional 12?
No.
Okay. All right. That's my other question.
Okay.
And that's registration also too, right?
And registration, sure. All right, hearing no questions. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Alberico,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Vickers.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. The other thing I wanted to bring up tonight should be a memo in your packet. We are trying to put this newsletter together. We are going to try to get it out by the end of September, first part of October. I'm asking all the clerk's office, the highway department, and assessor's office to get all their information in. It's going to be an 8-page newsletter again. If I can get know your articles and all your stuff in by no later by August 31st via email to Shelley, it would be well appreciated. We're going to try to get this put together. So that's informational. The only other thing, I don't have any old business.
May I get a question about the meetings?
I'm sorry, what?
May I ask a question about meetings at this point?
Well, the part about wishing to address the board is over with, but yeah, I have no problem
It's
with
an
the board.
easy question, I just want to know, I've been watching the website. When is the next water board meeting? Is it on the 28th?
The water board meeting will be the 4th, will be on the 28th, yes.
Okay, because it's not on the website.
It's not on the website?
No,
All
not
right.
as of 5:30 this evening.
I'll make sure it's on the website.
Okay, thank you. That was-
I'm sorry, I apologize for that.
And then, we need to then set that special meeting, we could ready to have one for the.
I'm gonna have to check my time, my calendar. It'll probably be on Thursday, sometime on Thursday.
Thursday, what day? Sorry, Thursday, the
Next Thursday,
next Thursday?
Oh, I'm gonna try to get it this week, so,
You can't, it's on the-
no, it'd be the 23rd. Okay. I did receive a few under meetings and correspondence. I did receive a couple of thank you notes. This is to one of our drivers. It says, not many people are as honest and decent as you. Thank you so much for finding and returning my $40 and receipts yesterday. She had lost money on her bus. That's it. Our driver was found it and brought it back to him. But I decided to keep it. All right, this is from Dora Brown. She's affiliated with the food pantry down in Fairmont. She said, down Alberico. But anyone can see that what you do makes a wonderful difference. Thank you. That's not important. But thanks for the generous gift to our food pantry and organization. We greatly appreciate it. Dora's a wonderful lady that works at the food pantry down in Fairmont. So I appreciate that, that they show that they appreciate what we do. That's nice. I think it's a very important thing that they do, and this food pantry is very important. We get a lot of people that really, really appreciate it. There are some situations where people will give you a hard time because the driveway is too far to walk or whatever, but you have to look at all the good things. 90%, 95% of people really appreciate what we do. This township is always up to you that no matter what we try. But anyway, that being said, I have nothing else. I think maybe just because I have this open here and I have this note here about the garbage refuge committee. I had the assessor's office do a little research for me, and excluding Bonnie Bray and the Caroline areas of unincorporated Lockport, we're still going to be looking at over 4,000 houses. 4,000 houses that we're serving garbage. With the Fairmont community, I figured there, and I'm just guessing since we have 800 houses with water, I figured there might be 1,000 houses there. I wasn't sure how many more, but there's 4,000 areas between where I'm at, College View, Macy Estates, a few other places along the division. So this referendum is going to be pretty important for a lot of people. So I'm looking forward to working with that. I have nothing else. I would call for an adjournment.
Make that motion.
I get a motion by Bartolini.
Second.
Second by Greg Bishop. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, everybody, for your